Sir, I need to see your ID.
I'm a 20-year FBI veteran. Is something wrong, officer?
These look fake.
They're real. Maybe take a closer look.
You ever have one of those days where everything feels normal, right up until someone decides it shouldn't be? That's exactly how it started for Marcus Reed, a 20-year FBI veteran, calm as ever, just trying to grab a late morning coffee at his usual spot in downtown Denver. It was a quiet Thursday. The cafe was half full, a couple students studying, a group of office workers talking softly, and the smell of roasted beans floating in the air. Marcus walked in like he always did, button-down shirt, laptop bag over his shoulder, badge tucked away inside his wallet like any off-duty federal agent. He ordered his usual, a medium Americano, then found a corner table near the window. He opened his laptop, pulled up a case file he'd been reviewing for days, and settled in for what he thought would be a routine hour of work. Nothing unusual, nothing dramatic. Just a man having coffee. But while Marcus was typing, the cafe's front door swung open. Officer Brian Kessler stepped inside, the kind of cop the neighborhood knew by name, and not for good reasons. 15 years on the force, a file full of complaints, and a reputation for turning minor things into major problems. He scanned the cafe like he was looking for something specific. Then his eyes locked onto Marcus. He didn't blink, didn't look away, just started walking straight toward him. Marcus lifted his eyes from his laptop, confused but calm. He'd dealt with plenty of officers before. FBI and local police crossed paths often. But something about Kessler's expression felt off. Not cautious, not curious, accusatory. "Sir," Kessler said sharply, stopping beside the table, "I need to see your ID." Marcus froze for a second, not because he was afraid, but because the tone made no sense. He hadn't done anything, hadn't spoken to anyone. He was literally sitting at a table with a laptop and a cup of coffee. "Is something wrong, officer?" Marcus asked. Kessler's voice tightened. "ID now." The cafe went quiet. Heads turned, even the barista stopped mid-pour. Marcus kept his composure. "My ID is in my wallet," he said carefully. "May I reach for it?" Kessler didn't answer the question. Instead, he said something loud enough for the entire cafe to hear. "We got a call about a suspicious individual fitting your description." A few people exchanged looks. Nobody else seemed suspicious. Marcus nodded slowly. "All right," he said. "I'll show you my identification." He opened his wallet and handed over his FBI credentials, the same credentials he had used for 20 years without a single issue. Kessler glanced at them for less than a second. Then he scoffed. "These look fake." And with that single sentence, a peaceful morning turned into the beginning of a $4 million downfall. For a moment, the cafe stayed completely silent. Marcus didn't raise his voice. He didn't react the way most people would after being accused of carrying fake federal credentials in public. He simply sat straight, hands visible, posture calm. "Officer," he said, "I assure you these are real." Kessler shook his head like he had already made up his mind. "Stand up," he ordered. "We're not doing this here. Outside. Now." A couple customers gasped under their breath. Marcus looked at the table, the laptop still open, his coffee still steaming. He had no idea how the situation had escalated this fast. But as a 22-year federal agent, he also knew something important. Some officers don't escalate because of behavior. They escalate because of bias. Marcus stood slowly. He didn't want sudden movement to become an excuse for anything. "Officer Kessler," he said, "before we step outside, I'm requesting you verify my credentials. There's a number on the back." Kessler cut him off immediately. "I said outside." A young woman near the counter, Jasmine Lee, grabbed her phone quietly. Her eyes followed the tension building between them. She wasn't the only one holding a phone now. Marcus kept his voice low. "Sir, I am cooperating. I'm just asking you to confirm the ID before—" Kessler suddenly reached for Marcus's arm. The cafe manager, Renee, stepped forward. "Officer, excuse me, he's a regular here. He hasn't done anything." Kessler held up a hand. Ma'am, stay back. Police business. Renee froze, backing away as other customers watched, with a mix of confusion and discomfort. Let's go, Kessler repeated. Marcus exhaled through his nose, steady but frustrated. He allowed himself to be led toward the front door because he knew resisting, even verbally, could be interpreted however Kessler wanted. Once outside, right on the sidewalk, Kessler pushed him lightly toward the wall. Hands where I can see them. Marcus raised his hands. Sir, he said evenly, this is unnecessary. Kessler leaned in close, as if looking for something incriminating in Marcus's eyes. A federal agent sitting in a cafe with no visible weapon, no field gear, and fake ID? Give me a break. Marcus swallowed. There it was. The part Kessler didn't say out loud but didn't need to. You don't look like you belong here. Kessler began patting him down roughly, ignoring every standard protocol normally used when dealing with law enforcement officers. His hand went through Marcus's pockets, his waistband, even the inside of his jacket. Do you have a weapon on you? Yes, Marcus answered honestly. I am authorized to... Kessler's voice shot up. So you are armed? I said I'm authorized. The weapon is holstered inside my waistband. Kessler immediately unholstered Marcus's firearm, like he was handling contraband. By now, multiple people were recording from inside and outside the cafe. Phones up, cameras pointed, a small crowd forming. Kessler didn't care. He held Marcus's gun like it was evidence. You're in big trouble, he said. Carrying a firearm under false pretenses is a felony. Marcus stared at him, disbelief flickering across his face. Are you listening to anything I'm telling you? No, Kessler snapped. I'm listening to the call we got. Marcus blinked. What call? Kessler smirked like he enjoyed the control. Someone reported a suspicious black male with a gun at this location. Marcus breathed out slowly. And did the caller say I was threatening anyone, acting erratic, doing anything illegal? Nope, Kessler said. Doesn't matter. You matched the description. Marcus shut his eyes for half a second. He knew exactly what the description was. Just black male. That was enough. Kessler grabbed Marcus's wallet again, holding up the FBI badge. Try explaining this in court. Marcus held his ground. Call the number on the back. Verify it. Kessler laughed under his breath. I'm not wasting my time verifying a fake badge. At that exact moment, Jasmine stepped closer, still recording. Sir, she said carefully, it only takes one phone call. Why won't you check if it's real? Kessler turned sharply toward her. Back up. I'm on a public sidewalk, she answered. I'm allowed to record. Kessler stared at her for a long, irritated second before turning back to Marcus. You're being removed from the premises, he said, and you're staying detained until I decide what to do with you. Marcus looked straight at him. For sitting in a cafe with coffee and a laptop. Kessler's jaw tightened. You watch your tone, he warned. Marcus, hands still raised, spoke quietly. I've been in federal law enforcement for 2 decades. I've handled cybercrime, terrorism cases, financial crimes, you name it. But I have never, not once, been treated like this. Kessler didn't flinch. You're not in control here, he said. I am. Officer Kessler stood there, gripping Marcus's firearm like he had caught a criminal instead of a 20-year federal agent on his coffee break. But Marcus didn't move. He didn't argue, Dot. He just stood there, hands visible, calm the way seasoned agents are trained to be when a situation is clearly being mishandled. Manager Renee pushed through the doorway again. Officer, she said carefully, this isn't right. He didn't do anything. Kessler didn't look at her. Ma'am, you're interfering. No, she said, voice steady. I'm clarifying. He comes in here 3 times a week, never caused trouble. Never. Kessler finally turned his head just enough to glare at her. I'm not asking. Renee stepped back, realizing he wasn't listening to anyone. Jasmine, still filming, spoke quietly to Marcus. Sir, do you want me to keep recording? Yes, Marcus answered calmly. Please do. She nodded, steadying her phone. A couple more customers stepped outside with their phones up. At least 6 angles were capturing the scene now. One man started live streaming, narrating quietly as he tried not to draw Kessler's aggression toward himself. This guy's literally standing here, doing nothing. That's an FBI badge. What is this officer doing? A woman beside him added, He didn't even check it. How do you accuse someone of faking a badge without verifying it? Even with people talking around him, Marcus stayed composed. Officer, he tried again, you are detaining a federal agent without cause. You have my credentials. You have my firearm. And you have not verified anything. Kessler's expression tightened like he was being challenged personally. You're not giving orders, he snapped. I'll decide what needs verifying. But the crowd wasn't buying it. Someone from the back called out, Just call the FBI number. It's literally right there. Another person yelled, Why won't you check? What are you afraid of finding out? Kessler ignored all of them. Instead, he reached for his radio. Marcus watched closely. Was he finally going to verify the badge? No. Dispatch, Kessler said. I'm detaining a male matching the caller's description. Possible armed suspect with fraudulent ID? Marcus closed his eyes for a second. It wasn't just bias anymore. Kessler was creating a narrative, a false one. Jasmine zoomed in on Marcus's badge on the ground. Her voice stayed steady. Everybody watching this. The number's right on the back. He refuses to call. He refuses to verify. This is out of control. Within minutes, her live stream already had hundreds of viewers. Comments started flooding in. He didn't check the badge. This officer is trying to force a false arrest. What city is this? Why is he so hostile toward a calm man? Someone else posted the moment Kessler grabbed Marcus's arm inside the cafe. A pair of college students clipped footage from outside showing the pat-down and the confiscated firearm. All of this happened before Kessler even realized how many phones were filming. Then another officer car pulled up, not because of backup, but because someone in the cafe had called 911 to report police misconduct happening outside. That second officer stepped out, confused by the crowd, by the cameras, and by Marcus standing calmly with no signs of resistance. Brian, the second officer, said cautiously, What's going on? Suspicious individual armed, fake credentials, Kessler repeated confidently, like he was trying to convince himself. The second officer picked up the badge, examined it closer, and immediately looked uneasy. Did you check this? I don't need to check it, Kessler snapped. It's fake. The second officer hesitated. A long, uncomfortable silence fell over the sidewalk. He looked at Marcus, then back at Kessler. Brian, this... Before he could finish, Jasmine's phone buzzed. She looked down, eyes widening. Sir, she said to Marcus, this video it's already taking off. People are stitching it, resharing it. It's on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere. By the time Marcus finally left the cafe sidewalk, escorted not by Kessler, but by the second officer who realized something was wrong, the videos had already spread far beyond Denver. But Marcus wasn't thinking about virality. He was thinking about what had just happened, step by step, and how dangerously close the situation came to becoming something far worse. He went home, sat down at his kitchen table, and wrote everything out while it was still fresh. Time, movements, words, actions, everything. A 20-year FBI veteran knew the importance of details. Then he made 3 phone calls. 1, his direct supervisor at the FBI. 2, an internal affairs contact he trusted. 3, a civil rights attorney. And every person he spoke with had the same reaction. You did everything correctly. You were profiled. This is serious. The attorney asked for all the footage, witness information, and Marcus's report. Marcus sent everything over. Meanwhile, his supervisor requested the names of every officer involved and ordered an internal FBI review of the incident. By the next morning, the story hit mainstream news. Local stations replayed the cell phone videos. National outlets aired the cafe security footage. Legal analysts broke down the stop frame by frame. Journalists requested statements from the Denver Police Department. Their first comment was predictable. "We are reviewing the situation and cannot comment further at this time." But silence did not help them. The footage spoke louder. 2 days later, Marcus filed a civil rights lawsuit. The claims were clear and direct: unlawful detainment, racial discrimination, violation of constitutional rights, seizure of property without cause, defamation of character, emotional distress, failure to verify federal identification, excessive escalation. Marcus didn't exaggerate anything. His attorney built the case entirely around what was plainly visible on camera. But the lawsuit wasn't only against Officer Kessler. It named the city, the police department, the shift commander on duty, and Kessler personally. Internal investigations began immediately. Denver Police Department pulled Kessler off active duty and placed him on administrative leave. His body cam footage confirmed everything the public had already seen. Then came the turning point. The department reviewed Kessler's personnel file. It wasn't clean. Multiple prior complaints, similar behavior patterns, supervisors who took no meaningful corrective action. This wasn't a one-time mistake. It was a repeated issue nobody had properly addressed. And now the entire department had to answer for it. The pretrial hearings were straightforward. Marcus's attorney presented the coordinated video timeline: inside cafe footage, sidewalk footage, and multiple smartphone angles synced together to show the full picture. Even the judge looked uneasy watching it. More hearings followed. More evidence came out. Kessler's deposition did not go well. Every time he tried to justify his behavior, the video contradicted him. The trial lasted 7 days. Renee, the cafe manager, testified. She explained exactly how calm Marcus was and how sudden Kessler's hostility had felt. Jasmine testified. She described why she started filming and how shocked she was by Kessler's refusal to verify the badge. Other customers testified. Even the second responding officer took the stand and admitted he immediately felt something was wrong. Kessler testified last. It didn't help him. He avoided direct questions, contradicted himself multiple times, couldn't explain why he refused to verify credentials. And when asked whether Marcus ever acted aggressively, his answer was painfully quiet. Nay, no. The verdict came quickly. The jury ruled in Marcus's favor on every claim. They awarded him $4 million in damages. Marcus sat still, his hands folded, absorbing the decision without celebration. 20 years in the FBI had taught him how to control his reactions in stressful rooms. But even with that training, you could see a small exhale leave his chest, the kind that meant the weight he'd been carrying finally shifted. The department announced that Brian Kessler was terminated effective immediately, with no possibility of returning to duty. The police union issued a short statement saying it respected the jury's decision. It was the closest thing to an acknowledgement they were willing to make. Kessler's badge, weapon, and access credentials were taken the same day. Within a month, Kessler's life changed in ways he never expected. His police certification was flagged statewide. Surrounding counties listed him as not eligible for hire. His law enforcement career was effectively over. Even outside policing, job prospects were slim. Employers searching his name would immediately find the videos. One news outlet interviewed a former colleague who said, "He always got defensive when people questioned him. That's why he escalated situations that didn't need escalation." It wasn't personal gossip. It was a pattern catching up with him. Meanwhile, Marcus returned to duty like normal. The FBI treated him like an agent who exercised his rights and remained professional in a situation that was handled unprofessionally by someone else. But Marcus didn't use the attention to grandstand. He didn't go on talk shows. He didn't give dramatic interviews. He simply continued doing his job. And every time a journalist asked for a comment, he gave the same steady line. "I just want the systems to work fairly, not just for me, for everyone." The case didn't just end with a verdict. It settled into conversations across the country. Classrooms, precincts, workplaces, courtrooms, and online discussions that ran for weeks. And the outcome became impossible to ignore. The case became a national example of how racial profiling can override evidence, professionalism, and basic logic, proving that even a federal badge cannot protect a black person from bias when systems enable discriminatory decisions. Marcus never asked to be a symbol, but the truth is that his experience exposed something bigger than one officer or one department. It showed how quickly bias can overshadow training, how easily authority can be misused when nobody intervenes. Before the case, Marcus was just a man getting coffee. After the case, he became proof that discrimination doesn't skip titles, badges, or resumes. And for the thousands of people who watch the videos and share their own stories, his experience echoed something they already knew. This wasn't about one officer, it was about a pattern people are tired of living with. But it also showed something else, something important. Accountability is possible. Public pressure works, and when people refuse to stay silent, systems don't get to ignore the truth. So let me ask you, if you've ever seen someone treated unfairly and wished you had spoken up, what do you think you'd do next time? Drop your thoughts below.